You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
The high 73. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 68 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good morning. Welcome in to Inside the Locker Room. 205-342-9904 is the phone number. If you'd like to get in on the show with us this morning, our X accounts at Locker Room 109, at Barry Sanderson, at Wimp Sanderson 1. And the email address for the show is wimpandbarry@yahoo.com. Download the Tide 100.9 app to your smartphone, and you can take us with you anywhere you go. Yellowwood pressure-treated pine from Great Southern. They bring us this 7 o'clock hour. Always remember, if you're going to build the 5-star backyard, there's only one product to use, and that's Yellowwood brand, pressure-treated pine. Yellowwood protects against rot, fungal decay, and termite attacks. So go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer that is closest to you. And always remember, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, you don't want it. Justin, what do we have outside weather-wise? If you keep it locked in, what's going on now out there? No tornado, but maybe a watch and a severe thunderstorm coming in.
Yeah, I believe we're just in a severe thunderstorm watch. There's a pretty strong line coming from the west. A lot of the heavier stuff is about to hit Tuscaloosa right about now.
Yeah, so be careful out there this morning. Good morning, Dad. How's your weather up there in Birmingham?
Windy.
Windy, yeah.
Top this mountain, a little bit windy.
Yeah.
A few storms will be in here, I think. Several things I want to mention. Clell Hobson, who was a great quarterback at Alabama years ago, passed away yesterday. Clell was a heck of a guy. Some of you older people remember Clell. His son Butch played for the Red Sox, but managed the Red Sox for 2 years, and was certainly outstanding. He's certainly an outstanding baseball guy. In other news, I'll jump around a little bit. Jerry Stackhouse, I thought, did a really good job in saying what his feelings about people really not ever getting to know him. He lost his job yesterday as the basketball coach at Vanderbilt, but I thought his remarks were good. What he said, Jared Haas, who was at UAB and who has been coaching at Stanford, lost his job as well yesterday. We'll have a lot of people losing their jobs. Coach of South Carolina got a new 6-year contract, which was terrific for him. 7 under is the leader at the Players' Championship. McElroy and Scheffler. A couple of others are 7 under. Lee Hodges 3 under, who we don't talk about much. Nick is +5, and Robbie Shelton struggled like a Dickens. He's +8, and JT is not great. He's I think -1. Memphis, who I thought UAB would play, got beat. He says they're not going to any kind of tournament. They're not going to the NIT or anything else. So last night, State beat LSU. They'll play Tennessee in the opening game. South Carolina destroyed Arkansas, almost 20, but not quite. And they'll go against Auburn today in the second round. Should be good. Second game should be very good. And Texas A&M end up beating Ole Miss. Will play Kentucky. And Florida just barely got by Georgia. Florida didn't play. I think played very well. Georgia played fairly good. I stayed up as long as I could to watch it. And but of course they'll play Alabama is the last game. I do want to mention that Chris Holtman, who Scott, my son, knows real well at Ohio State, got fired. The basketball coach there, he's going to be the new coach at DePaul. They've hired him, so that's good. Outside of that, the signing date for college for people to sign has been moved up 3 weeks earlier from mid-December to right before the playoff game. So thought that might be something that people might want to know outside of that. I don't really have anything. Duke got beat by NC State. The NC State coach was on slippery ground. I don't know if he saved his job or not. We just got a lot of people saving or getting better jobs and making more, not better jobs, but making more money, trying to keep them. And then we got people that are gone. Big stink about Albert's the guy going to A&M as the athletic director over after leaving Nebraska. That's all I got today.
Y'all help me here. I'm confused with this, and I didn't. We ended up getting a baseball game scheduled yesterday over Bibb County. We actually won. We went over there and played. But while we were there, that popped up that we're only going to have the 12-team playoff 1 year, and then it's going to 14. Do you guys understand how that's going to work? What is the format of this 14? How do you go from 12 to 14 before you ever even have played 12? And I guess the Big 10, the SEC, are wanting more guaranteed teams to get in. So I don't know. Do you guys quite understand? If somebody understands what's going to take place there, Dad, your thoughts about going?
Well, they're going to change again before it goes to 14. Probably, they'll probably stay at 14. I just think that television has a lot to do with it behind the scenes, and I think the playoff situation means that if you're a guy that gets a team that gets a bye, it's going to be interesting. As some of the people of other shows have said, it's a long time before you play after you played your last game. So we'll see. 14 teams is a lot of teams, Barry.
It is.
That's a lot of games, a lot of teams, and a lot of injuries. I'm not sure.
Yeah. If you play a conference championship game, and then I'm assuming if you won that, you'd get a bye. But if you don't, maybe you have to play in the first round. I mean, you could play. How many games would that be? That'd be 13, and I don't even know how you. I guess you have to play 3 or 4 if you went all the way. So you're going to look at playing 17 games for a couple teams, is that right, Justin?
We've gone in anything that we do this day and time. We always have to some degree gone so money conscious. But everything that we do now is it just it rules the roost, and we have so many teams, schools that have teams that bring in zero money. There are some men's, a lot of women's teams who just bring in zero. They've got to travel, they've got to eat, they've got to pay their bill too, and it comes out of the funds. And then you're trying to get NIL money and collectives. It's a headache. Huh?
Yeah, go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, I was going to say, Barry, the point that you've brought up. Almost any time we've talked about this, though, is college football just continues to encroach on basketball. I mean, if we move to 14 and then we move to 20 or however much, we just keep stepping on toes and taking more dates and weekends away.
Yeah, I heard Mike Krzyzewski was on a show yesterday, and he's very against, doing anything to let's see what happens, quit saying what we might do, and he says the NCAA tournament is the best thing you got going in college athletics. In his opinion, why mess with it right now? Leave it alone. So hopefully they will there. All right, I'll tell you what, we got a couple calls holding. Let's take a quick break here. We'll get back. We'll get to those guys. We don't squeeze them. We got Melvin Cheatham at 7:30, and hopefully Coach Sonny Smith will join us at 8:15. We'll look at these games today. We'll also look at the Florida-Alabama matchup. Auburn will take on South Carolina. South Carolina, that is physical. They are a physical team, and they.
Well, I think the big thing is they're smart.
Yeah, you've done a good job there. That guy's done really good. All right, 2-minute truck there at 1330 Martin Road East. That's where you go if you want to start the preparation for your move. Whether it's a local move, out of town, out of state, let the professionals handle it. They'll take great care of you and your stuff. Moving is very stressful. Whether it's local, out of town, out of state, you got people moving to this area. There's a lot of change with the football staff coming in and out. These guys can take great care of you. Give them a call today, 205-247-5050. That's 2 Men in a Truck Movers who care.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have picked up some major trouble for westbound drivers on 2059 this morning. The problem is going to be near Holly Springs Lane in Foster's. Vehicle fire that right now has all lanes blocked on westbound 2059. You're detoured off at Joe Malisham. You'll have to go to 43 and use that as an alternate route. Again, westbound 2059 currently closed in the Foster's area. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Friday morning. There is potential for severe weather today. A slight 2 and 5 risk covers all of West Alabama until 5 this afternoon. A severe thunderstorm watch covers all of West Alabama until 10 this morning. Damaging winds and quarter-size hail are the main threats today. There have been no reports of damage resulting from a tornado.
At the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Years ago, Jimmy Rain decided that the best way to advertise Great Southern Wood was through coaches. Gene Stallings, Pat Dye, Steve Spurrier, and myself, and many more coaches took to the radio and TV airwaves to tell people that if you're building outdoors, the only way to build is with pressure-treated pine, yellow wood. It is the very, very best. Why? Because all the coaches said yellow wood, pressure-treated pine, protects against bug, termite, and weather. Decking, fencing, play sets, whatever you're wanting to build, just go to the internet, look at yellow wood.
Your best bet for big wins is just minutes away at Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where you can be a winner too. Off I-459, exit 31 Derby Parkway.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance and is backed by an entire team of people you know and trust. Rent a Toyota and let's go places. Reserving yours is a breeze at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Rain, a few strong thunderstorms this morning, then a chance of lingering showers this afternoon and tonight. The high today 75, tonight's low 57. Tomorrow, just a small chance of a shower, a mixture of clouds and sunshine, the high 73. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Follow the Crimson Tide on their journey to another national championship.
Touchdown, Alabama!
On your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Pressure-treated pine from Great Southern Wood. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. You want to build the 5-star backyard, use yellow wood. Today, 12 o'clock, Mississippi State, Tennessee. Tennessee, 10.5-point favorite. South Carolina, Auburn. Auburn's 7.5-point favorite. That don't look right to me. Texas A&M, Kentucky. Kentucky is a 5.5-point favorite there, and then Florida takes on Alabama last game night. Alabama currently is a 4.5-point favorite in this particular game. All right, to the Yellowwood hotline.
Alabama is?
Yeah, 4.5-point favorite. Get Phillip in. Good morning, Phillip.
Hey, good morning, Barry. The new playoff format is supposed to start in 2026.
Yeah, 2020. Did I say 2025? So 2 years.
Oh well, I think when you were talking, I thought I heard you said you weren't sure. So
well, I'm saying, are we going to have it 1 year and then it's changing, or is it 2 years and then changing?
It sounds to me like it's 2 years and then it's changing.
Because if it's 2026. I guess the playoffs. The playoff would start in 2024 this year, but obviously it would not finish until 2025. By the time you play the national championships, I didn't know how they did that. But anyway, okay.
Yeah, and it's not about finding a quote unquote true champion, which is the ideal, which is what the idealists look at it. They looked at it as finding a true champion. It's strictly about raising revenue for ESPN and the conferences. It's not about finding a true champion. They could care less about that. This is about a pyramid scheme. That's all this is. and what I don't understand is the 12-team thing, which I thought was too much, because the 12 teams going to mean that there's going to be 11 additional games just tonight alone, because you got 4 in the first week, and then you've got 4 more games after that. Then you've got the semifinals, and then you've got the finals. So there's going to be a total of 11 games played with this current format. So I don't even understand what a 14-team bracket looks like.
I don't either. I don't know how you do it. Somebody a lot smarter than me. Maybe 2 teams get a bye and 12 play.
Well, they were talking about, originally they were talking about the SEC and the Big Tens, and the Big Ten getting automatic buys, just automatic because of the conference they in, and everybody raised hell, and they should have.
Yeah.
But it's just it's a pyramid scheme. That's all it is, man.
Yeah. It's in my opinion, Dad, you chime in. I think it's going to hurt basketball too, because football's going. A lot of people don't even start thinking about it, even though their team's not playing. If there's football on, their mind's on football. College basketball, football's not going to end until almost February. Now, by then you're halfway through your conference season in basketball. Dad, is that going to affect basketball at all?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But that's okay. If you got the big cow running, that's what they want.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you think about it, Barry. Barry. You got 12 games now. You got the SEC playoff. That's 13, and then you've got a possibility of playing 1, 2, 3, 4 more games. 17, 18 games.
Yeah, if you went all the way, you did. You would. So they're going to have to figure out some way as you go each round to compensate the players. I would think because the wear and tear on their bodies of those young kids like that will be difficult. Anything else, Philip? Go ahead.
Sir?
Go ahead. What you got?
Oh, yeah. Webb said something a minute ago. I didn't quite hear him about the new signing date. Can y'all clarify that?
Well,
it's going to be 3 weeks.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
I don't know. Go ahead.
3 weeks earlier, from what I understand, and it's going to be right before the championship games. I had it written down here and can't find it, Philip.
So
it
sounds like
3 weeks earlier. It goes 3 weeks earlier from mid-December to the week preceding the championship games.
So that's around Thanksgiving. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works.
Yeah. They were talking about, I know Alabama High School, like putting a summer signing date before their senior year. I
didn't get into that.
I think a lot of the high school coaches are against that because they're afraid the guy will sign, just pack it in, not even try to play his senior year.
It'd be terrible.
What an awful idea. That's an awful idea. That's an awful idea.
Yeah. Well, people keep making these rules that don't know anything about recruiting. So thank you, Philip.
See y'all.
All right, back up to the Yellowwood Hotline. Good morning, Tom.
Morning, Barry. Morning, Coach. I saw where Jack and them won yesterday.
Now, where did you see that?
The Tuscaloosa News.
Okay. Yeah.
I always now, with kids that I know from the area, friends and parents of the kids always search, to see how they're doing this, that, and the other. For whatever that's worth. But anyway, that's where I saw it.
Yeah. Well, he played Gibb County was undefeated.
They had good pictures of, they had color pictures of Northridge and Bibb and the coaches and really good picture. And I'm kind of biased toward, but really good picture of Jack. What a great looking kid. And anyway.
Hey, Tom.
Yes, sir.
I got a call yesterday from a lady who said that she wanted to interview me because of Jack going to Auburn. And I said, to handle the criticism of Jack going to Auburn. And I gave her, she's writing this article. I said, you better write the article the way I give it to you. So I got to thinking about what I said. And so I called her back.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wait a minute, Alabama didn't offer Jack a scholarship. They didn't offer him one. She said, oh. And so I started explaining to her, his decision, how it came about, and everything that happened, and I was 100% for it, and I wasn't one of these guys that ran around and gave granddaddy talk. I don't give any granddaddy talk. Right. So she's writing some kind of. I think she's going to see Barry. That's it.
Well, if I had to say anything to Barry or Jack, I'd say, just kind of roll with it because things happen for a reason, and 20 years from now you may look back and go, I'm glad it worked out like it did.
Well, that's fine. That's great. I'm sick of death for him.
Me too. I'm thinking, but listen, we've had.
I thought I'd throw it in there since you're talking about Jack because he's, I keep up with him closer than anybody. Okay.
I called in though this morning. I wanted to bring up the players. Yesterday, I decided I'm gonna watch, and Justin was going off later yesterday, and he's playing with the number one player in the world. And I said, okay, this is gonna be a lot of TV time. I'm gonna watch this thing just to see. Coach, I don't know what to say.
Let me give it to you.
Okay.
Most of the time, good players just go, really have put it together, and by that I mean you put it together. Your second shot, which is your big shot into the green, is really good, and you make a putt. He's gone through this period of time where he is mediocre as just running water. He hasn't put it together to where he has just run off it, and really stayed with people or run off and left people. And I don't know what the deal is there, but he hadn't. I think he has so much pride and so much ego that he doesn't want to get a putting lesson. That's my opinion.
You want to hear mine?
Yeah.
Well, I watched him, and his body language, he's too nonchalant. He doesn't have. Let me ask you this. This is something I thought about while I was watching it. Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer hated each other when they were competing in their prime. Hated each other. They wanted to kill each other on the golf course. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there was no love lost because they were competitors. And Justin doesn't have killer instinct. I don't know what he's thinking sometimes on his second shot. Yesterday he's inside 100 on a par 4. He blows it over the green, over into some cabbage. If a cow out there grazing, you wouldn't have saw it. And doing stuff like that all day long, and then he'll get to going, and then he'll start that nonchalant. Oh, I got this and this, that, and other. Something. It's upstairs. It's not.
Well, I think there's a period of time doing his play that he needs to personally, at times, lean on Bones a little bit. Lean on Bones about the shot selection on the second shot, and also about the read on the putt. I'm not saying all the time, but I think leaning on Bones, his caddy, a little bit would be a little bit better for him, especially if he made a putt that he didn't think he was going to make.
Now, I love Justin, and I want him to do all those kids that played are from the state of Alabama. But, you go back and look at that crowd. You got him. You got Jordan Spieth. They're both struggling. And now Jordan accusing, what's his name
McElroy.
from England? Yeah, McElroy. He's accusing him of not knowing how to drop a golf ball. And McElroy's been playing 30 years. And you got that going on with him. And then
Nick didn't play well either, did he?
Who?
Nick Dunlap didn't play well either, did he?
Oh, no, he didn't. He's
+5.
He's just trying to tread water. And then, you got Jordan Spieth and Ricky Fowler and all that crowd. They were going on vacation together, and they were drinking wine and all that kind of crap. And losing their competitive edge when they ought to been go up there looking at each other with rifle scopes. And it just beats. And then you got Smiley Kaufman. He's one of their good buddies. Guess where he is now? He's on a microphone.
Yeah,
I tell you, something's with them. They aggravate the crap out of me.
Yeah,
Mike lives.
I like Smiley.
I think Liv's hurt this PGA Tour now. These fields.
It's not about liking them, Coach. I don't understand their golf game. And even yesterday I was listening to Mr. Jack Nicklaus. They were interviewing him. He's just not going to say anything good about anybody because he's a competitor. He still wants to beat them, and but their edge is gone. I don't know what's up with them. They just something is not right on the mental side. Coach, let me ask you that at that level, all of them can bomb it. All of them can hit irons. All of them are fairly decent putters. It's all mental, is it not?
A lot of it, some of it is, especially when you start missing putts. But one thing that you do, and what's his name, the good player, changed putters. I got on blank, but the guy from Texas that wins all that. Yes, he sometimes you'll change a putter for whatever reason and putt well, or have a little bit different lay on the ground with your putter. And I think that's a key. You don't change your irons much. You don't change your drivers, but your putter is one of those things. And if you make a couple early, then you feel a little bit better. And he's made some now. And he's good.
Yeah, he did. He's putting very well. But you're talking about playing out of somebody else's bag. I guarantee you, your lowest score you'll ever shoot is playing out of somebody else's bag, and then you buy the club from them, and you can't hit crap.
Yeah. Right.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
See ya.
All right, we'll get to break here. We'll get Melvin Cheatham in. Before we do it, though, let's talk about Bob Prince and Prince Glover and Hayes.
Attorneys that look after you. You have an accident or so-called injury that did not need to be that way, or somebody comes after you on the highways, or you have a problem with neighbors or whatever it might be, but it's a problem that bothers you mentally and physically, and you're not sure to handle it because you've never had it before. I think this is just down-to-earth talk. Prince Glover and Hayes at 345-1234 we'll listen to what you have to say. We'll go over it with you, and then we'll bring you over to 705 Rice Mine Road and visit with you then and take your case and go and work for you. And they will do an outstanding job of selecting the way to go about things with you, and they will more than likely be very, very successful. So hopefully you'll call them. Hopefully you don't have this problem. But if you do, 345-1234.
Listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
No representation is made that the quality of services performed is greater than the quality of services performed by other lawyers.
The Alabama Securities Commission protects you from financial fraud. Anyone asking you for investment money must be licensed. You're careful with your money. Fraudsters aren't. Before you invest, call our hotline at 1-800-222-1253 to verify the licensing of the person making an offer and the product. Don't lose.
It fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern brings you to the 7 o'clock hour. We appreciate Yellowwood, Jimmy Rain, all the people at Yellowwood. Always remember, if it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, then you don't want it. We talked about Alabama taking on Florida tonight, 8:30, and a guy that knows a lot about the SEC tournament, that is Melvin Cheatham. I'll let you bring Melvin into the show.
Well, I wanted to bring Melvin in because I want people to think about all the kids that we have come in on our show and visit, and how successful they've been. And we were very fortunate to do a good job, assistant coaches as well as whatever, getting the kind of people that could win for us, both on and off the court. And we've had that throughout this week and a lot of weeks, and Melvin just one of them. And good morning, Melvin. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Coach. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
We got beat by Mississippi State in the regular season and didn't play very well. I think if I'm wrong, and Melvin can correct me. We're going down to Orlando to play an SEC tournament, and for whatever reason, I didn't like the way we had things going for Melvin, and we changed some things and tried to put in some stuff for him offensively like a couple of weeks before the tournament. and we won the tournament. He didn't win it by himself, but he helped win it, and we did some things that improved us, and it was a really good tournament. And it's one of the reasons. And I'm also having him on not because of that particularly, but because of the success he's had off the court. Tell our listeners what you're doing, where you been. I know you've been on before, but you tell it again.
All right, gentlemen. Good morning. I was fortunate after college to have an opportunity to extend my playing career. I had a chance to play overseas for 10 years and learned a lot. Picked up a second language. My children were born abroad. Actually, my son has dual citizenship. Came back, started investing in real estate. And so, I do a lot of Class C, D properties. Try to help people who have a hard time finding affordable housing. That's kind of what I do now. This is absolutely my favorite time of the year. I love March Madness. I've always loved the SEC tournament. I love the fact that they play last, and then that's when the committee goes in to start making their picks and seeding teams for the SEC tournament. We had a great run my 4 years of college. Of course, my freshman year we struggled a bit, but after that, our bell curve went straight up rapidly. We made the tournament. We won the SEC tournament championship 3 years in a row. I can clearly remember some of those. I can remember every game in the tournament, and I can remember the excitement around the team as we waited to see where we were going to be heading off to play in the NCAA tournament. It was very fun memories, really good times. Still have great relationships with all my teammates, coaches, and just fans from over the years. And, people I met 20, 30 years later who still have fond memories of those tournaments, of those teams. Yeah. Barry.
Talk about your experience here. Obviously, Melvin's from Winsboro, Louisiana. We had James Robinson on, who was from Mississippi. We had Gary Waits on, who's from Georgia. So, not just in-state kids, but kids around this area. Just talk about a kid from Louisiana coming to Alabama and what the university means to you now, Melvin.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come to Alabama. It's one of those deals where clearly the coaching staff cast their net pretty wide to grab players. On our team, we had several guys. We had a guy named Alvin Lee from Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah.
Myself from Louisiana, David Benoit from Louisiana. And we had guys, a couple of walk-ons from Indiana, Dean Wilson.
Dean.
I remember him running the scout team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, we cast the net pretty wide and had a collection of players from all over the place, even Anthony Lawrence from Tampa, St. Pete area. So, bringing it all together, and Coach did a great job of being the chef. Everybody can have tomatoes, but everybody can't make great tomato sauce, right? So Coach did a great job of putting all the ingredients together to come up with a winning formula. We still act, and some of the fondest memories of the relationships that, even now we have group text where we talk about everything Alabama, recruits, coaches, players, games, and I think Coach even a couple of times during March Madness we have a group text where you're on it also. Yeah, when the team's playing.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Yep.
Well, they tell all that bull crap I said. They always quote me about getting on the bus and no apples and all that.
Well, Melvin was the one that could imitate you. He would get up there and Melvin, he would pick up some lint off the floor, right, as he was giving you one of his speeches. Correct, Melvin?
I was guilty of taking lint off the socks and putting it on the floor because we knew Coach would be pacing back and forth as he talked to us in the locker room, and he'd be looking at the floor just picking all kind of lint up off the floor.
Oh, so you were throwing it on the floor.
Yeah, I put it on the floor.
There you go. That's
it's like a pregame ritual.
Yeah. Talk today. Alabama takes on Florida. The tournament's changed a little bit. They got a double bye there, which helps. 3 games. So I think you guys had to win 3 games in 3 days. They do play the late game tonight. I kind of, like you said, I kind of like it because there's so many teams get eliminated and you're still playing. So they'll take the Florida night probably around 8:30 or 9 o'clock. But, and then have to turn around and play tomorrow afternoon if they win. Just talk about those experiences and what they're going to go through tonight.
Well, first of all, I was able to make it down to the Florida-Alabama game in Tuscaloosa this season, and that was an overtime victory.
Yeah.
Playing in the SEC, sometimes it's all about the matchup, and I believe it. For whatever the reason, I don't like the matchup with Florida, personally. This is my personal opinion. I just don't like it. I know we won in overtime in Tuscaloosa, and like I said, I was actually at that game. And then things didn't go so well for us at Florida. So now we have a rubber match. We'll find out which team is going to come out on top tonight. I wish we'd have got a different draw because even when we were playing, we had, just in my opinion, sometimes we had favorable draws when we would look at the brackets and see who were on our side. But we kind of knew if we did what we were supposed to do, we were going to be playing in that championship game. And, sometimes the matchups are just bad. I can speak personally, like Mississippi State for me was always a bad matchup. They had those Burns boys, Cameron Burns, Smoke Burns. They had those 2 Burns guys who were about an inch shorter than me. They were just as quick and they were a lot stronger. So they would get under me and they would they would get their hands on me and and lift me up to slow me down on my moves, like getting to position. And so sometimes, just the matchups and watching how that game against Florida, how, the guard played, Florida played really solid that night. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those deals where, we got to come out. Everybody has to do their job. Everybody absolutely has to do their job for us to have a shot at being able to advance and play again tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep.
Talk a little bit about leaving us and going overseas, and I don't know how much you made. Don't want to know that, but did they treat you right? Was it the learning experience that you had there?
Well, playing overseas was great. It was, it's one of those deals where you go in, you experience new cultures. I was fortunate enough to be in Athens, Greece, a country where Greek is the first language. Some other places you go, English is the first language, and they have their native language. But in this particular case, they speak their language, and they expect you to assimilate and learn their language. You're the guest. How about learn our language? So I got a chance to learn to speak Greek, learned it fluently. And, just some of the values you learn, like one of the lessons, life lessons that I learned that I passed on to my kids was taught to me when I initially signed with the team, AO Daphne in Athens, Greece. We were sitting at the table, and I was being introduced as a new player to the team, and I was sitting next to the president, and there was board members, a guy that was a plastic surgeon, a guy owned 3 Mercedes dealerships, and they were all sitting at the table. And, we're sitting there, and then the president leans into me, and he says to me, and my name, Melvin, is honey in Greek, Meli. So everyone always called me Meli. And he said, Ella Meli. Don't be like the typical American that comes to my country. And I said, excuse me, President, what do you mean? He said, I noticed that you remember the name of the Mercedes owner, the doctors, and all the influential people at the table. And he said, don't be the guy, in essence, don't be the guy that remembers people because of what they do. And he just said, the finest person at this table may be the janitor sitting at the table. And he said, in my country, we work to live. He said, and in some other countries, people live to work. So people will ask you what you do, and then they put a perception of value, a dollar value based on what you tell them you do for a living. and they'll remember your name, and they give you a greater degree of importance over someone else when really they may be a rotten person, and the nicer people at the table get overlooked. So, he put that in perspective for me. So I made it a point when I meet people, I meet them where they are, for who they are, and I generally don't ask what do they do for a living. In organic conversation, typically that type of thing comes up and gets divulged, but I just took that learning lesson. One of those, just not many learning lessons over there, but that was one I always keep close to heart, near and dear. And, as I meet people, I don't care if I'm at a part house or standing in line at a grocery store. It's one of those deals where, we make casual conversations, but I try to just meet people for who they are, where they are.
We can't let you leave without telling about those kids. They end up being athletes, football players, one of them.
Yeah, my son Miles, he played college football at San Diego State. He was first team all Mountain West. He's in Austin, Texas now. He's working in the land bond department for the state of Texas. And my oldest daughter, Alexis, she played college volleyball at the University of Houston. And now she's finishing up her second year of law school at Villanova. And we have our youngest, Maya, who's a sophomore in high school. She's trajecting to be a D1 college volleyball player. She got a letter from the University of Alabama women's volleyball program. So,
right.
Hopefully there can be some interest. Hopefully there'll be some interest in her. That would be great. That would be, that'd be like a cherry on the top of all this with the three kids. But, she's cutting her own trail right now and playing and competing. And, we have a athletic family. I mean, last year was incredible because my son, who played at San Diego State, had a lot of friends that were, on the basketball team. And Alabama and San Diego State played each other. We were it was funny because my daughter, who's undergrad, she played college volleyball at the University of Houston. She had on her Houston gear. I had on my Alabama gear. Miles had on his San Diego State gear. My wife had on her Alabama gear. So it was it was just a great time. It was a great time. And so the joke now is, Maya, you have to go to a school that has some degree of crimson or red in it.
Well, we need to ask you this. We had Gary on yesterday. He was talking about his son playing, and he said his wife is all over the referees where he can't even sit with her. He just kind of sits on the other side and doesn't say much. Are you one that's into the games? Are you up yelling at the referee, yelling in volleyball, football, or is your wife doing all that? What kind of fan are you, Melvin?
I can 100% tell you, I never sit with my wife ever. Ever.
Why?
I'd never sit, never, because one, and I don't care whether the kids are playing high school basketball, AAU basketball, football, volley. It doesn't matter. And my deal is, I would explain to them, I've never seen a ref change their call.
Yeah.
Because a fan got upset. But I'm telling you, you can influence whether they make the next call or not. And that next call could be a foul against your kid that they didn't have to call, or it could be a foul committed against your kid that they should have called, but they didn't call because of the way you yelled at them from the stands. So I would just say that and say those were my 2 cents about that situation. And I would go sit somewhere else where, let the moms or some of the dads, because I don't live vicariously through my kids. There's a lot of parents who feel like, oh, I got screwed in high school. That's not going to happen to my kids. So I don't live vicariously through them. I let them compete. I let them learn the lessons of failure from losing. I learn the lessons of struggle from competing and training to get better. So I just try to, I get out the way. My deal is I'm an advisor, right? You ask me, I'll tell you.
Advisor.
You're advisor.
That's it.
So
I just give them advice.
Yeah. So that's about what I thought. So you and Gary are about the same there. So
tell our listeners in Birmingham what you're doing. You might be able to do some advertising while you're on the show.
Coach, I kind of fly under the radar. I kind of mind my own business, stay in my own lane. So, I got some things going on, but I don't, I really toot my own horn too loud. It's one of those deals. I just try to keep it close to the best.
All right. Okay. Well, Melvin, we appreciate it.
We sure do.
Great stuff there. And I can't imagine what that text group will be hot tonight with Alabama playing. So I'm sure you guys will have some fun breaking down the game tonight. Appreciate you being on.
Thanks, Mel. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Melvin Cheatham. There, great story about Melvin. Guy told me, Melvin was a really, really good player. And he would bring his son, I guess the one that's at San Diego State, when he was probably in middle school or whatever, he'd bring him to camp. Most of the guys, they think they played at Alabama. They shouldn't have to pay, or they're not going to stand in line. And they looked up, and Melvin would be standing, never asked for anything free, standing in line just like everybody else, not thinking you owed him something, and going to take his kid up there and register him just like everybody else. That right there tells you a lot about who Melvin Cheatham is. All right.
Barry, one thing you and I mentioned the other day, it's a little bit not off the subject, but I think it affected us some when we were. Joe Lenardi said last night that there are times when the committee doesn't give the teams that play on Sunday enough look. He didn't say exactly like that. They left out that game. And what we've been talking about, extending the game to Sunday rather than Saturday. He thinks that hurts us, and I think it hurt us some.
Yeah,
because we played the final game so many times that final game by the committee was overlooked, and I thought that was I was listening. That came right through my head when he said that. I mean, the final game is overlooked. Crap, we was in the final game 9 times.
Yeah.
And they don't do that. They don't try to see, because, folks, where you're seated in NCAA and where you are is big. The 2 games you play are hard to win in some cases, and Barry can comment on it more if he wants to, or it's darn important that last game has some significance, and we won that last game 5 times.
Yeah, they got that bracket pretty much done. As soon as that Big Ten game's over, which is after the SEC game, they got to get that thing out. So it doesn't, that Sunday game, unless it's a team playing that's not going to make the tournament. If they win, then they have somebody ready to kick out of the tournament. So that would affect the seeding for sure. But you look at Creighton; they go down last night. That's not going to affect their seed at all. Them losing. Duke loses to NC State. That's not going to affect their seed because they lost in the tournament. I think, and I don't even know that A&M winning last night, put them in. They're saying that put them in. But they'd have lost that game, they probably still would be in as well. So I don't think the tournaments mean as much as people think they do. I think it's more of a money maker. Kansas's seed's not going to change, even though they went out early. But there are a lot of jobs open. I don't know if you saw the video, Mike Boynton with Oklahoma State, who Mike played for us in South Carolina. But Mike's a really good guy. I thought he... most of the time people don't handle that. I'm sure he's upset, but he handled that so professional that will help him get another job, I think, by the way.
I thought Jerry Stackhouse.
He was really good, too.
Very, very good. And he's just not, people are not getting to know him. And the reason he dressed the way he did because his mother and them got him suits when he was growing up. It was very, very good.
Yeah. All right, we'll take this break. I'll put the phone lines 205-342-9904. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. The news is a lot better now for westbound 2059 drivers. A problem spot, though, is still there. This was a vehicle fire that occurred near the Holly Springs exit in Foster. They have reopened the interstate, though. You're no longer being detoured off at Joe Malisham. Now, that said, the right lane is still blocked now. I'm Ray Romero.
Prices are falling at Townsend Nissan. Don't wait. Rates as low as 0%. Townsend Nissan, Tuscaloosa.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow truck, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's Move Over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights.
Each at counselingservice.org/DBC or maybe purchase at the door for $40. Proceeds benefit the Family Counseling Service of West Alabama.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance and is backed by an entire team of people you know and trust. Rent a Toyota and let's go places. Reserving yours is a breeze at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Rain, a few strong thunderstorms this morning, then a chance of lingering showers this afternoon and tonight. The high today 75, tonight's low 57. Tomorrow, just a small chance of a shower, a mixture of clouds and sunshine, the high 73.
I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
It's 64 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The best sports talk in the state. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
We want to thank Yellowwood who made this 7 o'clock hour possible as we keep continuing talking about the SEC tournament. Alabama takes on Florida tonight. We'll get back. I'm going to ask Melvin said something there. I think he's right, that Florida's kind of a bad matchup for Alabama. What does he mean by that? We'll discuss that, Dad, when we get back from break. What does bad matchup mean? Maybe we'll break it down for the listeners. Also look at the other games today. Take your phone calls, and Coach Sonny Smith will join us at 8:15. Thank you, Yellowwood pressure-treated pine from Great Southern. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
Family picks with new Easter looks. It's easy with women's and girls' dresses for only $20 and under. Low prices on everything for Easter? Now that's Target.
Years ago, Jimmy Rain decided that the best way to advertise Great Southern Wood was through coaches. Gene Stallings, Pat Dye, Steve Spurrier, and myself, and many more coaches took to the radio and TV airwaves to tell people that if you're building outdoors, the only way to build is with pressure-treated pine, yellow wood. It is the very, very best. Why? Because all the coaches said yellow wood, pressure-treated pine, protects against bug, termite, and weather. Decking, fencing, play sets, whatever you're wanting to build, just go to the internet, look at Yellowwood, and you will find these coaches advertised a great product. If it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, believe you me, you don't want it. It's Yellowwood.
My caretaker was very rough with me. I thought they did it because I wasn't moving fast enough.
Elder abuse is a crime, and together we can stop it. If you or someone you know has been abused, neglected, or exploited, call the Adult Abuse Hotline at 1-800-458-7214. That's 1-800-458-7214. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Human Resources, the Department of Justice, ADECA grant number 18VA-VS050, the ABA, and this station.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265 KFCG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
News from the NFL, where the LA Chargers traded veteran wide receiver Keenan Allen to the Chicago Bears for a fourth-round pick in this year's draft. The Chargers also restructured the contract of defensive end Joey Bosa. Kansas City Chiefs signed former Ravens and Cardinals wide receiver Marquise Hollywood Brown to a one-year, $11 million deal. The Washington Commanders are trading quarterback Sam Howell to the Seattle Seahawks. The Atlanta Falcons are shipping quarterback Desmond Ridder to the Arizona Cardinals. In the NBA, the Celtics are the first team to clinch a playoff spot. They beat the Celtics 127-112 to improve to a league best 52-14. Thunder over the Mavericks 126-119. Oklahoma City moves back into a tie with Denver for the top spot in the West. They're both at 46-20. No Luka Doncic in this one for Dallas with the hamstring injury. Clippers over the Bulls 126-111. Bucks down the 76ers 114-105. Golf second round action underway at the Players Championship.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. Allstate Insurance Agent Andrew Knipper. Andrew's my agent. Let Andrew become yours out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3. Over in Northport, give Andrew and his staff a call, 205-722-9201. You need auto insurance, you need life insurance, condo, boat, whatever you need. He'll take great care of it, he and the staff. 205-722-9201. What does that mean when we say it's Florida? They got some bigs. They're pretty physical. They try to bully Alabama a little bit, I think, Dad. And when Melvin said, and I thought when I watched the game here, I didn't think it was a great matchup. Alabama was lucky to win the game here, which didn't give me much hope when they went down there. And they went down there and got manhandled. Why is Florida a bad matchup for this Alabama team?
Well, when you think of matchup, you think of being able to defend them defensively. My guy against your guy, all five guys against each other, knowing if you can match them up perfectly. They may be matched up a little bit well against you because they could stop your guards from scoring some and do a good job defensively with people that you have. So. In this particular game, I didn't think Florida played very well last night. Is it not a surprise to you that Alabama is a 4.5-point favorite?
That is a surprise to me. I would probably have this game as a pick 'em, probably.
Well, Florida is not. They didn't show that. They didn't play, and I know Georgia's better. Played better in that game and really wanted the game, but I think Alabama beats Florida.
Well,
I think they beat them more than 4.5.
That's a personal game for Georgia. Mike White obviously was at Florida, pretty much run out of Florida. Was fortunate to get the Georgia job, so you're playing against the school. So you could tell he was a little more animated over there. He was a little more ready to beat Florida because he had been there. I just don't think Georgia's very good. But they did play well last night. The first game out of the chute today, Mississippi State, who had to come back and win. They were losing a lot of that game yesterday, but finally settled in. They're taking on Tennessee. I imagine there'll be a lot of orange in that building today, especially with Auburn playing right after. The odds makers don't even have it being close, a 10.5-point line there. Did Mississippi State, did they play themselves into the tournament yesterday, you think?
I think probably they did. I hope so. I think Mississippi State is very good for a long period of time at the beginning of the games with their defense. Inside, they're not, even though Smith, Tutu, or whatever his name is, and Bell try to get inside. Tennessee has shown the ability to play not only the guard position, where they're very good offensively and defensively, I think, with a good inside game when they went inside a lot. And also, I think the left-handed kid has picked up some. We all know about Connect and the way he plays, but you have to do a good job of defending him and keeping the basketball off of him would be my suggestion. But people play him the way they want to. But it should be a game where Tennessee is better in all positions, inside, outside, and I think Mississippi State plays hard. I think the guard is really good, shoots it very, very well. They have a shot to be in an NCAA tournament. They're playing for that as well because they don't know. But I would say Tennessee wins it.
Yeah, obviously Tennessee's a big favorite there, and I don't think people are going to. They're going to want Rick Barnes to win next week. They think he goes out in the tournament. That's what Kentucky and Tennessee. They need to play well in the SEC tournament. More importantly, they need to play well in the NCAA tournament, or people will start screaming again. All right, to the Yellowwood hotline, get Cowboy in. Good morning, Cowboy.
Good morning,
Cowboy.
Terry and Coach.
How are you, buddy?
Guys doing?
We're good, man. How are you?
All right. I was trying to get dialed up to you guys, and I thought I heard Coach say, not trying to put words in his mouth, but I thought I heard him imply maybe that Florida was sandbagging last night a little bit.
No, I didn't mean sandbag. I just didn't think that, sometimes I'm not saying that they won't play lights out. I just think that Florida didn't play as well. They didn't shoot it as well. I don't know what it was. I just didn't think they played very well. Yeah. I don't think they were looking to Alabama, because you can't look to Alabama if Georgia beat you.
Right. Well, Coach and Barry, if these coaching changes kind of keep happening and somebody might decide he might want to try something better, do you think Bucky McMillan would be the number one candidate for a school in Alabama if the job came open?
Oh, I have no idea. I think all athletic directors have a list of people that they want to consider, or somebody may jump out at your face a little bit. Washington football coach kind of jumped out. They visited with Florida State and Washington because they were hot at that time for football. So I think you've got a list of people that you like, and you go from there. I don't know what Barry thinks.
The more these big jobs you have open, and then you got people that you thought might be a candidate. Chris Beard, he just signed a new contract. The guy at South Carolina. So somebody's got to fill these jobs. And so eventually they start looking up like, who can we get? So I think Bucky, I don't know if there's going to be a job open up in the state, but I think he will have an opportunity now, because somebody's got to fill all these jobs, and usually it's the hottest mid-major, head coach is doing well. So a lot of talk about Chris Mack possibly going to Vanderbilt, but whatever name usually jumps out
first.
Who is
Chris Mack? I'm sorry.
Chris Mack was at Louisville. He used to be Xavier. He was at Louisville. He's out now. He was with Skip Prosser at Wake Forest as an assistant a long time ago, but usually the name that comes out first. So if I were Vanderbilt, he may not be my first choice, but a lot of times they don't get their first choice. I would think at some point Bucky might be a candidate at a Vanderbilt or something like this. Yeah. He did it at Mountain Brook. It's kind of maybe the same type of school.
I think the one thing, Cowboy, that you have to understand now is your ability to recruit, and your work ethic in recruiting, and your work ethic in the guys that you get to help you. X's and O's, fine. He can do all of that, and but I think you've got to be darn sure that you're organized in recruiting, and it is not an easy job, because the thing that you have to do is, Barry and I mentioned it yesterday, in a roundabout way, not a roundabout way, but in a direct way, you say to the people that are trying to hire you, are we decent? Are we decent in NIL money? How do we stand there? Now, Bucky wouldn't do that because he's wanting the job, probably. But there'd be a lot of people that come in there that'll want that question answered.
Yeah, this is going to be funny, but I think the two top candidates for the two top in-state jobs, if they came open, would be Bucky McMillan and Steve Forbes at Wake Forest. I think because they've got both have connections in some form, maybe to both schools. And if you hired Bucky McMillan, it might be crazy, but just think the excitement you would have in the state by hiring a guy that won some state championships in high school basketball that's done well. I mean, I think the support at either place, if either coach moved on, would be tremendous. And I'd hate
I don't think Steve Forbes would be a candidate. Wake hasn't done well. His wife has been real sick. I don't think he'd be a candidate.
Yeah, he was with Bruce, but Steve, I've known Steve forever. I'm actually surprised he's the head coach at Wake Forest. He's a junior college guy. He was in junior college for a long time. And he's done a good job at Wake. Not great, good, but his image does not fit Wake Forest at all. But Steve's a really good guy. He's a good basketball coach. I know they've had some situations there with his wife there, but I wouldn't see Steve Forbes being a candidate.
No, I wouldn't either.
I don't know what that would be interesting if one of these guys I have no idea what direction they would go here. Yeah. Of course, Nate Oates was a name nobody knew either when Greg Byrne hired him. Everybody was Googling him, trying to figure out who that is. So they probably would go the mid-major route like they did I guess here in Auburn, probably the same thing. I don't see Auburn hiring Stephen Pearl if Bruce Pearl left.
I don't either.
I just don't see that.
Yeah. Well, all right, today's ball games, Kentucky should easily win. Auburn, South Carolina, will probably be a war. And then tonight,
I'm going to tell you something. These guys that make a living in Vegas with lines, they don't miss much.
No, they don't.
South Carolina, obviously, it was in the jungle. They got beat by like 40 by Auburn. So I think they got that game circled. They some older guys, some crusty guys, tough guys. I think they were embarrassed down in this game. Obviously not going to be at Auburn down there. I think they're going to come out and play extremely hard today. That's kind of their culture. We'll see. But they did beat them 40, so that's probably why that line is 7.5.
Yeah. Hey, I called you guys about a month ago and said, boy, Kentucky just doesn't seem right with Cal. And Coach kind of said, hey, you got to be patient. Boy, I was wrong. Boy, they've been playing some good basketball.
They have, but they better play well in the NCAA tournament or people will be screaming again. I mean, he needs to get, to the Elite Eight to kind of calm the people down a little bit over there because those early exits in the tournament, they don't like that at Kentucky, Cowboy, as you know.
Yeah.
As you know.
Well,
so.
You going to go over and watch all that Alabama-Tennessee baseball? That's going to be hot.
Yeah, I'd like to. I just don't know if the weather here is so bad. I don't know if that game will happen tonight or not. I guess
it won't happen today.
Yeah, it's supposed to be at 6 o'clock, but the weather's not good here, Cowboy.
Where's Bryce?
I don't know. I told him the other day to call you guys. I guess he's in that Drew Armand Homer talk.
He said, "Man, I ain't calling them
diversity talk. I can't go all Homer."
He said, "I ain't calling them fools. They make fun of me. I ain't calling them. He don't like us now." So,
oh Lord,
I'll say it for you, Cowboy. You don't want to try to hurt our feelings. He don't like us anymore. That's all right. So,
I don't know. I like y'all, so I'm calling. Well, look, you guys have a good day, and maybe old Rick Barnes can have a deep run in these tournaments.
Yeah, he needs
I'd like
one.
to see it for him.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, Rick Barnes, he needs a deep run in the tournament. But
he does.
you think Bucky will be back at Sanford, or does he need to move now that he's hot?
Oh, I think if he's offered, he wouldn't. But I think you have to be maybe in that line of winning like that a couple of years before it happens for you. I don't really know.
I could see like a St. Louis, somebody like that, that could triple his pay. Somebody like that might come after him. We'll see what Vanderbilt does.
Be very interesting to me. Vanderbilt job can be, if you really get in there and get with the program, can be a very good job. The basketball support for Vanderbilt in past years has been very good, and they just need to get some people that can buy some players. And they I don't know how they handle their money, but I'm just wondering if the athletic director there, if she's able to, maybe I'm wrong, maybe she's able to have a collectives and NIL money that will get players. That's what it takes right now.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. We'll look at the other two games. No Sonny Smith today, so you guys dial us up 205-342-9904 as we move through this 8 o'clock hour. Get ready for the SEC tournament. The big day today, the biggest day, the toughest ticket is today up there in Nashville. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have picked up a stalled vehicle westbound 2059 near the Highway 11 interchange in Vance. We also have the remnants of our earlier vehicle fire. This was our big problem of the morning for a while. Westbound 2059 at Holly Springs Lane in Foster's. At last look, the right lane was still being impacted there, but the left lane passable and very little of any backup through the area. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
It's Brett and T-Town Tony. When we're still sitting in one more day on Friday, Freak Flag Friday for Ryan Fowler on The Game. Join us tomorrow for God knows what's going to happen. We're going to have fun. We got Paul coming in from Lincoln to sit with us, and we're going to remember to tell everybody the same thing over and over again. Embrace the Sauk. S-A-U-C-K. See you tomorrow.
The longest running sports program.
Giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Rain, a few strong thunderstorms this morning, then a chance of lingering showers this afternoon and tonight. The high today 75, tonight's low 57. Tomorrow, just a small chance of a shower, a mixture of clouds and sunshine, the high 73.
I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 64 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Also, the night games tonight. We talked about, let's go South Carolina, Auburn. As we talked about, South Carolina was embarrassed by Auburn down there. I don't say embarrassed. They got beat bad. Does that have any bearing on this game this afternoon at 2:30? The line is 7.5. I think Auburn's been playing well. Both these teams are securely going to have good seeds in the NCAA tournament. I think both of them will be around a 4 or a 5. In the grand scheme of things, how much does this game really mean today between these two?
Not much, I guess. You like to be the champion of the conference, no doubt about it. I think it's big if you get that and makes your recruiting a little bit better. I think it does in the minds of South Carolina's a smart team. I think the other thing about South Carolina is they play very well together. On the other hand, I think Auburn is playing very well. They run the break better than I've ever seen them run it. They're big guys, good inside. They are a team that from time to time they don't have the kind of shooting team as an Alabama does. They can. They'll take anything they can get inside the 3, and they'll shoot some bad threes at times. Auburn's probably going to win the game, but both teams are going to be NCAA bound, and just have to see, who the committee feels like that they need to pair them against. That'll be interesting. I think the confusing game for me is not confusing at all. I thought the same thing when I turned it off last night. Florida's not Florida, so we'll see.
And sometimes it's just win in advance. You get your bad game out.
Yeah.
The other game, Texas A&M. I think Buzz is he's a good tournament coach. They play well at the tournament. They went to the finals last year. They'll mix in some zone. They'll change some things up against Kentucky. They'll try to keep them off balance.
Yeah.
Kentucky's had time to get ready for whatever. I mean, I know they didn't know for sure they'd play A&M, but they've had plenty of time to get ready. That line's a little bit low there with the line 5.5. Kentucky's a young team. Buzz does a good job there. You think Texas A&M can pull the upset tonight against Kentucky?
No, I don't. I think it'll be over 5.5. I think you'll get through. You'll get through the 1-2-1-1 zone. The one thing that Kentucky does not do well against is the full court press. They are not there. They were disorganized as crap. Half court press. They're so big and it can throw over that, but it does. Slows the tempo down a little bit because Kentucky runs with it so well and so good offensively. Not great defensively, but Barry, I feel like you can agree or disagree that the Auburns, the Floridas, and the Kentuckys have decided to play Alabama. And this is two of the games that Alabama could play. I mentioned this. They've sort of decided to play in a way that they darn sure really work on cutting down the number of attempts that Alabama gets with a 3. And if they have to give up the dribble drive, so be it. I think that, you look at when you look at it, you think, oh boy, you're not defending anybody. But a little bit, we won't take away the 3 and think we can beat you with our 3s against your 2s. And we can beat you inside on the rebounding part. So to me, that's what their plans are.
Yep. So that will take care of that. And tomorrow, obviously, there'll be some big matchups. We'll see what happens. How
do you think the Florida-Alabama game goes?
Honestly, Justin, help me here. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Florida won. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't know. I have no idea.
Did you watch the game last night?
Either way, either. Uh-huh. I made a bold claim yesterday on the 11 to 12 show that Alabama loses and they potentially lose big.
Today.
No, you're dead wrong.
I hope so.
Why is he dead wrong? He could.
No, that's not going to happen.
Why?
Well, it's not going to happen because Alabama shoots the basketball so much better now. I don't know if Alabama's hurt or not. Naturally, you always say it's game time decision whether somebody's going to play or not because of your opponent. Whether Griffith's going to play, he's going to, I'm sure, start. But you say that I just don't think that Florida can beat Alabama in this tournament. I don't think. I just
should don't Alabama should not have beaten Arkansas, so they would have lost three straight.
Yeah.
So they haven't been playing very well. I mean, Arkansas to come in here and really should have beat Alabama. They lost Florida and they lost.
A terrible decision in the game. Yeah, terrible.
So I think people are looking at it. The teams haven't shot great in their first game, and they don't defend. So
I will say this to you, Barry, and you're right. When the arena has an open back, it's more open in the back. You don't shoot it as well. It is a different shooting deal for you. The one thing that Alabama does so well that they haven't done in past years, my teams didn't either, is shoot free throws, make free throws. They do that. They're very good at that, and that's huge because of what happened in the Alabama Florida game at Tuscaloosa. we're not particularly going to mention it, but I've just mentioned it. But the officials, they know everything, and the guy that's over the officials warn officials about things that have happened or things that are going to take place. And Georgia coach last night got mad at what's his name, one of the lead officials for on the first call. I mean, he got furious.
Doug Schals. Yeah,
Doug Schals. I'm sorry, but they know what's happened. Now, this has been long enough to where it's died down, and you mentioned, and I did too, a little bit about how hard Florida played at Florida. Of course, they had the fans there, and they shot it well, and they wanted to win big because of maybe a little bit of what had happened in Tuscaloosa. But I think that's down the drain now. And I am surprised because I kept thinking Alabama's going to blow these guys out rather than the other way around. And Alabama's a 4.5 point. I think you said 4.5 point favorite. Wow, that surprised me.
Yeah, Nate Oates at halftime of the game last night said, "Well, looks like the best way to play Florida is zone, but we haven't played 1 ounce of zone all year." There's a big article about how this was the highest scoring team in Alabama history, and there's a big article about Coach Pannone and how much film he watches. Maybe he needs to watch a little film about how to guard somebody.
Pannone, that's the assistant coach?
Yeah, he watches.
Yeah, where he doesn't say anything in the huddle.
They talk about all the coffee he drinks each day and how much, and they went down how much film he gets in at like 6 in the morning, watch a couple hours of film. They have practice, watch a little more film. He goes home from 4 to 8. Spends time with his kids, watch some of his wife, then stay up watching film till like 1:30 in the morning. Well, and coming up with the offensive things, he might want to turn his attention to defense a little bit. Justin.
If you say zone enough times, Joe just might call in and tell us about it.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a good article about Pannone. I think he's a basketball junkie. And is always sending you plays and breaking. He doesn't watch games live. He says it takes too much time. He likes to watch them when he can rewind them, and so he watches a ton of film. I just wish they would spend a little more time watching film about the defensive end of the floor.
I do have a question for the two of y'all. I feel like I've heard this lingering around, and we heard Coach Oates a week or so ago say, if we had Reitzel, basically I'm paraphrasing, if we had Reitzel, we potentially win the SEC regular season. I know, and I don't want to make it sound wrong, I know Reitzel is a incredible player. We know he can shoot, we know he can play defense, but having him back on the team, is he really that much of a mover?
Well, he's a good player. The person that doesn't mean they were going to win the league, no. They need him back, but he wasn't going to. He wasn't going. I think that article was written by somebody, but it's incorrect. Go ahead.
Reitzel, I don't know how many he's attempted. He has not missed a free throw all season, but he's averaging 9 a game. They did miss him. They missed to shoot him because it ended up them playing the kid from North Carolina. They were starting him, and so they lost some shooting. Now, Nate Oates likes to play 4 guards, so Reitzel allows them to do that. If they get Riley and Griffin back, which sounds like he's got a chance maybe to play today. You got Sears, Estrada, Griffin, and Reitzel. Then you play Grant Nelson at the 5. You're not great defensively. You're small, but they got to guard you as well. So that's kind of what they think there.
I guess that's why he plays such a key role, like you just said, is shooting, right?
Yes.
If we're not playing much defense, as long as we're putting the best shots out, then
they try to outscore you. And so 4 guards are hard to defend, and then that puts a guy on Grant Nelson. But Grant Nelson generally ends up getting in foul trouble because he ends up usually guarding a guy more physical than him, and so he gets a lot of ticky-tack fouls as well. So anyway, it should be interesting. Be a fun game. All the games should be good today. I think they're all could go either way, and that's what you want. All right, Deb, let's take this break. Let's tell them about our great sponsor, and that would be Bryant Bank.
Well, certainly when we talk about banks, we talk about Bryant Bank. We do on this show because Bryant Bank is your homegrown bank. 4 locations in Tuscaloosa, but in Columbiana, several locations in Birmingham, Gulf Shores, wherever you might be. Bryant Bank can do the job for you. You can enjoy online banking. It's accessible around the clock, so it'll make it much easier for you. I think the people that work in the Bryant Banks are people that you have can get to know very quickly and can do everything they possibly can to help you. They've also been a really service bank in the city of Tuscaloosa. They've done a lot with the school systems there. They have great community service around. They also, I think it's very important, do a very good job in targeting the fraud attempts. In this day and time, you put too much of your information out on the internet, you're going to be in trouble. So Bryant Bank can handle that for you. They know what they're doing. They've been in business a long time, 2005, and they're excellent people. So my suggestion that you go by there if you're looking for a home and you want to borrow money, Bryant Bank will make it as easy for you as they possibly can. So go to Tuscaloosa, wherever I might mention Birmingham. They're right below me, and tell them you heard on Inside the Locker Room, and I think that you'll be well pleased.
All right, we got a couple phone calls coming in. If you guys want to get in, 205-342-9904. Joe Lenardi's got his newest bracketology out. We'll tell you where Alabama is seated and where he's got them going in the new bracket.
Pads and rotors together, you'll save 15%. It's just part of what makes us America's #1 brakes destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Years ago, Jimmy Rain decided that the best way to advertise Great Southern Wood was through coaches. Gene Stallings, Pat Dye, Steve Spurrier, and myself, and many more coaches took to the radio and TV airwaves to tell people that if you're building outdoors, the only way to build is with pressure-treated pine, yellow wood. It is the very, very best. Why? Because all the coaches said yellow wood, pressure-treated pine, protects against bug, termite, and weather. Decking, fencing, play sets, whatever you're wanting to build, just go to the internet, look at
The Metro Animal Shelter will be on location with their pet adoption truck. For more details, follow our Facebook page. Find us at Northport Bunny Trail.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance. Rent a Toyota and let's go places. Reserving yours is a breeze at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
This report is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation.
Catch every game and every moment right here. This is your home of Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Tuscaloosa Toyota, go to TuscaloosaToyota.com. The website has been revamped. Beautiful website there. You can see all the inventory on the lot, the new inventory, the used inventory. You can schedule a service right there. You need to rent a car, anything you need right there on the website. You can swing by Skyland Boulevard, see Justin, see David. Look at those 2024s, that Grand Highlander, the Tacomas, the Camrys, the Ravs. They got them all right there for you. Get by there today and tell them that Wimp and Barry sent you. All right, to the Tuscaloosa Toyota hotline, get BC into the show. Good morning, BC.
Morning. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I have a question for Coach. I've heard him say several times about the home court advantage, and I want him to elaborate. Is it the impact of the crowd? Is it the nature of the court? Some courts may have a soft spot. Is it how hard the rim is? Soft rim? Is it
it's the biggest percentage of it, the huge percentage of it, almost all the percentage of it is the crowd. Is the ability of the crowd to spur you on if you score, to really get into the game, and when you are bragged on, and when you are, when people think you're doing great, the harder you play, and so you generally play harder at home, and it's not the rims. There's some rims are a little bit different, but it's not the floor. Basically, there are times that the open end of the court are different, and you don't shoot it quite as well. It's just a little bit different. You don't have the feel of the wall, But basically, to answer your question, it's the crowd and the crowd getting into the game. Barry talks about that all the time about Auburn and so forth, about really getting in there and supporting it. That's what I'm referring to mostly.
So teams that get their people to travel with them probably do better?
Teams that what now?
He's saying that teams that if up there in the arena, if you have more fans in there, is that going to help your team play better up at a tournament where it's
I think to some degree, maybe not quite as much in tournament because you're on a neutral court. But the Kentucky people will come in there, and they will make it as much a home court advantage against the team today that A&M today as can be. I mean, it'll be a home court advantage for as far as not like playing at Kentucky, but there'll be an advantage certainly for Kentucky.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you, BC.
Thank you, BC.
All right, back up, and familiarity. Obviously, you practice on those goals, that court. So obviously, you're very familiar with the surroundings there, and of course, the crowds. The biggest factor there. All right, just go back. I think Greg's up in. He may be in Nashville. Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Hey, Greg.
Good morning. I am up here in Nashville. It's been a good week. I tell you what, I wanted to ask you. Did y'all? I know you said you watched some of that Florida game. They missed 18 free throws.
Yes, that's unusual. Yeah,
I couldn't believe it was 23 of 41, and Georgia was 6. They was, I think that there was 29 free throws missed.
Well, the funny thing about that was all of their shots were flat.
Yeah,
they were real flat. The key to shooting good free throws is to be sure that you raise your right elbow. If you raise your right elbow, you got the. But I want to just say to them, raise your cotton picking right elbow. they just shot it flat. It was unbelievable. They didn't do that at Alabama. They made all of them.
Yeah, most of the teams that I watched play yesterday, I couldn't believe a simple free throw. It killed everybody. There wasn't many teams shot well from the free throw line. But anyway, it's been a great turnout. I've been surprised at how many. To me, it's always been when you come up here, it's Big Blue. I understand that, and it's still going to be Big Blue. But I'm telling you, there is a lot more other people here than I've ever seen. But it's been a great turn. I wish we'd have played Florida last night because I believe we could have beat them. But on the game today, and y'all touched on this a little bit. There was a stretch in Alabama played this year. I thought we played really good. We beat a lot of good teams. And it was when we had Reitzel and we had the whole team there. You mentioned a little bit about him. I think he makes a big difference because, to me, he's a knockdown shooter, and we got to have that. We got to have shooters so we don't play
where he helps you is when Sears is driving the ball. If he's driving the ball to Reitzel's side, you got to make a decision. Are you going to help? Are you going to stay glued out on Reitzel? Well, there's no right decision there. If you help, he kicks it to Reitzel, and Reitzel knocks down the three. If you don't help, then Sears gets all the way to the rim. Or when you have some of those other guys standing over there don't shoot the ball quite as well, then Sears is not as effective. So just having Reitzel on the court makes Sears a better player because you have to stay out on him.
The big thing in Alabama losing the 4 big games that they lost have been turnovers. And if you get yourself in a turnover game and try to make an impossible pass, then you know what? Sometimes coaches can't stop that. They can substitute. But I think the 19 turnovers, I think that they've averaged at the 4 losses is the reason they lost the way they did. So we'll see.
I worried today after watching Florida. Though Florida's big. They got some big kids, and their guards. I think their guards are good. But to me, the length affects us more than anything, and I think we can handle that a little bit. Maybe get them foul trouble, whatever. Maybe we'll have a chance. That's going to be tough. I had a little confidence last year when I came up here. I don't have a lot. I feel like we got a chance if we get hot, but it's a tough league. We got good teams, and I just enjoy coming. I've been coming, like I said, ever since I was in high school when your dad was coaching. And let me tell you something, it ain't nothing like it. Come up here and watch basketball, pick a team. Even if we lose, we pick it and we go with it. Have fun with your buddies.
Somebody tell me that. Somebody just texted me and wanted to ask you if you brought Charlie with you.
No, I didn't get to bring Charlie, but Charlie's coming tomorrow. We're hoping tomorrow. That's my son.
Greg,
and I know who you're talking about.
Greg, you're going to be, well, you know this because you go to the tournament a lot. When the arena gets full this evening, you're going to look around and say, how did these blue people get all these tickets? How did they get this ticket? They're going to be all over that arena.
They are. I know that. I know that. And because I'm standing.
They're going to be in your section. They're going to be in your section, Greg. So just be ready.
I'm just saying we don't. I'm just hoping Texas A&M beat them. I like to see Big Blue go home.
I remember when we played them in Atlanta. I was at South Carolina. We played Kentucky. There was 23,000 people at the game, and there was 21,000 Kentucky fans in there when they came out. It was unbelievable. So I saw Tubby Smith was up there yesterday. He was over at watching, I guess Nate spoke at Puckett's, and he was there yesterday. So
I was going to ask y'all one other thing, Coach. You coached up here all the time, but like today, they play the late game. Will the team go somewhere and shoot and have a workout?
Yeah.
It'll be at a local college.
They'll probably go, somewhere Lipscomb or high school or something. They give them 20 minutes. They wanted to come in there early this morning. They'll get 20 minutes. Some people choose to use that. Some don't. They just go somewhere else. So, but they definitely will go. They're not going to lay around all day. They'll definitely go somewhere and shoot around.
Well, so I know one thing. There was nobody to me shot the ball well yesterday.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
That worries me a little bit. We got to shoot the ball well today.
No doubt. Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Guys.
All right. There's somebody right up there in the thick of it. All right. We'll get back to the Andrew Conifer hotline and get Tom back in the show. Good morning, Tom. Tom with us?
Tom gone.
Did Tom leave? I guess he left. So the Big Blue will be up there tonight. There's no doubt about that. How about these other leagues? You get a chance to watch. What about Duke getting knocked off last night?
Yeah, Duke came back and almost got that thing tied. They were down like 6 points with 45 seconds or something. They bounced back and had a chance. But good win by NC State. Probably won't change Duke a whole lot. Of course, it just shows that the Duke-North Carolina game won't be played again. And that was a good win for NC State. He's a little bit. Coach is close to being let out, so I don't know what's going to happen there at NC State.
Oh yeah.
He's close to.
Pittsburgh knocks off Wake Forest and Virginia. Virginia's on the bubble. They're the 3 seeds.
Yeah, he keeps saying Virginia. They've gotten blown out some games.
But they're 13-7 and 23-9. I hadn't studied their deal, but I can imagine that the team that's third in the ACC. That shows you how much the ACC's fallen. Third place team.
Well, today's interesting, Barry. You got Michigan State playing Purdue. Michigan State is not quite as good as they've been. I think they've lost 13 games or something. But that should be a little bit interesting. If you're interested in UAB, UAB is going to play Wichita State. There was an upset there. Wichita State beat Memphis. The Memphis coach came out and said they ain't going nowhere. They ain't going no NIT. They ain't going anywhere. So that's the way that goes. Ohio State's playing Illinois, which is a pretty big game in the. And I tell you, Texas Tech. Texas Tech is it's not Texas Tech, but Texas Tech is playing
Houston.
Yeah, Houston today. But there's Iowa State. I think is an underdog. I think they're darn good. So.
They're playing Baylor today. Iowa State's actually a 1.5 point favorite. I'm looking here.
Against Baylor.
Yeah. Iowa State will guard you. They will. Oof.
Baylor's good too, son.
But Iowa State's ranked 7. Baylor's ranked 14.
I think what I can gather, Iowa State is a team that people just kind of overlook, son, and they could have a chance to win it all.
Yeah, that guy's done TJ's done an excellent job there. They actually Kelvin Sampson won Coach of the Year, and he came out and said the guy at Iowa State should have got it. Just to be quite honest with you, he did a better job than I did. So that guy's done. Steve Prohm, when he left, I don't think they won a conference game that year, and in 2 years he's turned that thing around, got them ranked number 7. In the country. So, all right, we'll take this last break. We got time to squeeze in a couple more phone calls. 205-342-9904. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. It's been a soggy drive in for most of you this morning as we have had some rain showers and thunderstorms moving across the region, but no major impact on traffic. If you're traveling along 2059 between the 359 interchange and Skyland
Disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn's Colitis Foundation.org.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also
service.org/DBC or maybe purchase at the door for $40. Proceeds benefit the Family Counseling Service of West Alabama.
The Alabama Securities Commission protects you from financial fraud. Anyone asking you for investment money must be licensed. You're careful with your money. Fraudsters aren't. Before you invest, call our hotline at 1-800-222-1253 to verify the licensing of the person making an offer and the product. Don't lose.
Your best bet for big wins is just minutes away at Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where you can be a winner too. Off I-459, exit 31 Derby Parkway.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Rain, a few strong thunderstorms this morning, then a chance of lingering showers this afternoon and tonight. The high today 75, tonight's low 57. Tomorrow, just a small chance of a shower, a mixture of clouds and sunshine, the high 73. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 66 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Two-time state champion and two-time NIT champion Barry Sanderson breaks down the latest in sports on Inside the Locker Room on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Royal Cleaners, they want to make your life easy. They'll come right to you, pick up all your cleaning, get it cleaned up, deliver it right back. 3 locations. If you need to drop off today, pick up tomorrow by 5 o'clock. So that's always very nice. They got places at University Boulevard, Bridge Avenue, and North Porter, 4851 Rice Mine Road. For all your cleaning needs, give them a call, 205-391-0034. All right, Dad, once spring break's about over, I guess the Alabama football guys will be reporting back on Sunday. Practice will start back up next week. Go ahead.
Well, your thoughts about the 14 teams playing rather than 12. Can you imagine?
Go ahead.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't understand the format.
Can you imagine the fussing we're going to have today, where people are set with their teams, what number they got, who they're going to play, where they're going to go? That's part of being fussing about. I can't understand this. Can you imagine when it starts, when you're paired up, and you're number 8, you're going to have to play number 9 or whoever, the stink that you're going to have over who is paired up and where they play, and who's in the 14. I know 14's a lot, and you can pretty much get it, maybe get the 14 correct. But can you imagine the settings of that? What a mess that's going to be.
But I like the first round being on the campuses. I think that's going to make it And that's a lot easier on the fan. The money that you have to spend to travel to watch these teams play. And I guess when those happen, the season ticket holders will have the first right to buy those tickets. I wonder what those tickets will cost for those playoff games there. We know what the TV is going to bring. Be a lot of money that comes in, obviously, for this, and that's why they're probably adding another game there. But there's going to be a lot of screaming about how many games these kids have to play in order to be a national champion. They're just put up here about Kirk Cousins. How about you pay a guy $180 million, and he's got one playoff win in 12 seasons? What is it about the quarterback, Justin? This guy hadn't even been successful. What's Patrick Mahomes worth if you're going to pay this guy $180?
Oh, Patrick Mahomes is worth a lot more than that. I think they even had to restructure his deal just this past week so they could afford to make some adjustments to their roster.
Yeah, these quarterbacks. What makes playing quarterback so difficult in the NFL?
Well, the selection of them is so wrong half the time too.
Yeah, they're not good. I like Mac Jones getting out of, but he's not going to play unless this guy gets hurt. So
no,
that's probably not a bad gig though. Stand over there, save your body, and make $5 million. Not a bad gig.
They say that's the best job in the NFL is the backup quarterback. Plus, he's at home. He's from Jacksonville.
Yeah. All right, so he's going home. All right, well, that's it for today's show. The Gary Harris Show is next. I know Justin will be filling in for Gary. I think they got some interviews and stuff lined up. Gary's on the road today. Be careful out there. The weather does not look great. I don't know about softball. So softball is supposed to play here today as well, Justin?
Yeah, they're supposed to play at 5. We're going to hear from them around noon if they're actually going to play.
Okay, and then Alabama, Tennessee, first pitch supposed to be 6 o'clock. I don't see that happening, but maybe they'll just switch it to a doubleheader tomorrow. I know I think they're supposed to play at 7 tomorrow night as well. It's an evening game, and then 1 o'clock on Sunday. So generally they'll probably play 2 on Saturday because the get out of town date is always Sunday, so they try not to hold them too long there. All right, well, that's it for today's show. It should be great basketball today. We'll talk about it all on Monday. Have a safe weekend. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.